Uh, Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. مساء الخير. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever your time zone is. I have wonderful friend, dear friend, Dr. Candee Williams, Ph.D. psychologist, and also a family consultant, and and also dear friend and dear student of language. And so أهلا كاندي، ازيك؟
تمام الحمد لله وانت.
كله تمام. Just Candy also this is for live, but since thank you so much for coming, and it's many wonderful friends and students asking me about this podcast and this workshop about transformative power of mental well-being,
Nice.
of language, learning Arabic, and traveling on mental well-being and mental health.
Oh,
So
yes.
yeah, so I will let you speak. You are the main speaker, okay? Maybe we have some friends will listen to us or will just join the live or watch us or anytime from all platforms. But I would love um, to let you talk more about your experience for learning Arabic and how learning language actually can really impact or can affect on us emotionally and mentally and and all aspects of life as well. And since also you love traveling and you was already traveling to Europe
Yes.
before now. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Well, I thank you so much for having me. And this is very much amazing to meet your audience. Hello, everyone. And it's a blessing to be here as well. It's a huge thing, mental health for all of us these days who are traveling through this world. A lot of us, we are not sure sometimes which direction we're going in because there's so much happening in the world, whether it's wars, inflation. And so basically, I say this, checking on your mental health, it is your wealth. And that's our wealth, because if we're not mentally focused and mentally healthy, then we're not wealthy at all. We can't focus, we can't get out of bed, and so on and so forth. So as a family counselor, I suggest that one seeks professional counseling first in order to find any type of regressive or depressive reactions one has in this, society and what's happening. And that is what our reaction is to real or imagined things. I know you've heard of this word triggers before.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, so sometimes certain things or that happens, it triggers us to get in a kind of I call it a funk, or, kind of get down, or, not feel as well about yourself,
Mm-hmm.
about your situation. Maybe you're looking for a new job or something like that. So once you find out whatever these triggers are, it helps us get to the root of the problem first when it comes to mental health. And then after that, I can say for me personally, when I started with my amazing teacher,
Thank you.
which is yourself, um, learning Egyptian Arabic, I was going through some terribly traumatic things in my life that was happening, and happened to one of my family members. And so that was a wake-up call for me, because I really got depressed after that. And it didn't feel good. And so I'm not coming from a book. I'm coming from actual, factual, something I actually went through and experienced, and how language and learning a new language with you, doctor, helped me. And it gave me purpose. It gave me a reason to wake up in the morning, whereas I would stay in bed for weeks at a time. It gave me purpose to get up and make a schedule, because we met like twice a week, right?
Yeah, it was
Tuesdays.
twice a week.
Yeah, we met twice a
Remember, it
week.
was Tuesday. I even
It was
remember
Tuesday,
the day.
yeah.
It was always Tuesday, you know, like that's,
Yeah.
yeah, that was
In the
what
beginning, I wanted it like twice, or was it twice or three times a week? It
it
was
was.
twice a week. I think it
Wow,
was
yeah. It was
2016. Yeah.
16. Yeah, I was not in Egypt even. I was in Sao Paulo. I was living in Sao Paulo. And
Exactly.
I remember this very much. Yeah, it
Oh my gosh,
was
time
very
is
fun.
fun. Yes, you were. Oh my gosh, that's a wow, time is really. And so look at us now. And look how
Wow.
things are now. So it gave
Don't
me
make me
like
feel old,
purpose.
like, oh my God, oh boy.
No,
I'm just kidding. You know,
no.
sorry, it's funny. Look at you now, 7 years, 8 years, I'm still here. Like,
And still looking amazing, still helping
thank
other
you.
people,
I
still being selfless.
thank you.
So yeah, it your friendship at that time, learning a new language, it wasn't just about learning. And a lot of people are like, okay, I'm going to learn a new language
Mhm,
from online,
mhm,
from a tool,
mhm.
and AI. But there's nothing like having that human interaction. And when we had that human interaction and learning Egyptian Arabic, there
Mhm,
was friendship. You can have a million people around you every single day, but you can still feel lonely.
mhm.
And so that friendship was very good. Like our exchange just
Oh
now, that
yeah,
was funny. You
I
can't do that like learning from an AI online,
oh
learning a
it's
language,
not the
right?
same. No, I mean yeah, now actually even some of my students, and that's also I want to ask you about that. Like since you are a psychologist and I have got some experience about psycholinguistics and how the AI actually started to influence our life, or like in
Hmm.
in a positive way and in a negative way, like because somehow I feel like AI made people a little bit lazy, because
Yes.
you want to do anything, like you don't need to study the Spanish
Yeah.
or the English, or just go to ChatGPT and say, hey,
Yep.
give me this. Honestly, like it's nice to enhance your way to talk, but at the same time, it's still like makes people a little bit lazy, I would say, and
Yes.
more dependent on AI. Right. So we have also Jessica from Florida, by the way, from
Hi.
yeah,
Hi,
yeah, we have
Jessica.
two Florida.
Yay, two Floridians.
Driving. Wow. So let's just introduce also Jessica. She is a folklore and Egyptian artist, Egyptian folklore,
Great.
and she is also into the language and culture a lot. And we organized some workshops together as well. And
Amazing.
yeah, and so back to the topic about AI. That's what I want to ask you: how you find, or how do you find now AI as a language? By the way, you was also a language teacher. You was teaching some
Yes.
Spanish before. I remember you told me that even when we started to begin our classes. And because that time I was studying Portuguese, so we were talking about this as well.
Yeah.
So how do you find language for you? It's the artificial intelligence and how that can affect on us mentally
Mm.
and like in all aspects, but especially for people who won't study. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it negative or it's positive? What do you think?
If you are serious about learning a new language,
Hmm.
it's more than just zeros and ones. My first degree is in computer science. And so you know, learning how to program, all of that was amazing and it was great, but there's something stale about it. In other words, there's something that's not, you're missing the human touch. And yes, there's AI, and I also still study AI as well. And I teach in Web3 and I consult in Web3.
Oh.
However, at the same time, I really understand as a human being and as a person who has programmed computers is that they can tend to be political.
Yeah.
They can tend to be political, especially Chat GPT. Now, Chat GPT, what people need to understand is that it was the company was started with Sam Altman and Elon Musk. And Elon Musk left that company because the chat GPT basically was so political. And what you want to do when people got to remember, when you're programming AI, you're programming it from your standpoint as a human. You can hate different cultures. You can feel a certain way negatively about different parts of the world, and you can program that into the AI. And so I just think that when you have, like, when you and I were I felt pretty much face to face, because that's how
That's
learning one-on-one is.
it,
It was very much more, yeah, it was very much more interpersonal. I felt comfortable, and I actually wanted to learn. And I felt that I was learning at a pace that suited me, not the AI.
oh yeah, yeah. Besides the teaching methodology, that's how, that's what I studied. My master's degree was in linguistics, but I also
Yes.
have diploma in teaching. We say منهجية التعليم, teaching methodology, like how to psychologically as well. Like, we study this as a linguistic psychology, how to connect and to have this human connection before even teaching connection, like how to talk to students, how to make him love language or love studying, because it's not about just teaching you a language and, okay, you know what, I will teach you today the alphabet and teach you some sentences and I'm leaving. But how to, did I do this? Like, I always like to give myself homework. Remember, I always, still now, by the way.
Yes, I
I'm
remember the homework.
very, very.
A lot of homework.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays not so much as. Don't worry. I mean,
I
you
love it. No, I love it. I can go back
remember.
over it.
I remember what you told me about the homework. For example, like when I still have I still remember when you sent me. That's in my mind when you told me about the homework. Is psychologically it's very important, because the homework, the assignment, to reinforce the information and how to study the how to like revisit all this information that the teacher or the instructor teach, because it's not just about to study with a teacher, but also you have this self-study uh,
Yes.
part of of studying. So you have to study, you have to so the teacher also, like any teacher should do that, should be very connected to students, should also customize, because AI
Yes.
and the software and applications, they don't really, they treat all people the same. Like, okay,
Yes.
you come to study Arabic, okay, you know what, I'll give you Fusha, I'll give you classical Arabic, but I want Egyptian. No, I don't care, I'll give you classic. you know this is actually my
Yes.
students, all of them, they came from this Duolingo or Duolingo, I don't know how to say, and even myself, I never use it when I was studying Portuguese. And I did study Portuguese by first from books, but not that much, but from connecting with Brazilians. So, and living in Sao Paulo, talking to people, communicating. The teacher also was in university. So I have Tasha, also Tasha from Ohio. Hi, Tasha.
Hi.
We have all people from the same city.
Ohio,
Amazing.
Ohio. All right. Nice to
Ohio,
meet you.
Florida. Yeah. So we have Tasha, and also she's my language student, and Candee, Dr. Candee, for people who just missed the first part. Like Dr. Candee Williams is my wonderful friend and student, and also she's a doctor, Ph.D. psychology, and family consultant, and a wonderful human being as well. So we were talking about many different aspects. So back to what we were talking about, the applications and artificial intelligence and all that. And I also wonder about many different things for Candee. Dr. Candee also was a teacher, so as
Yes.
I'm talking about Candee Williams as not only as a language student, I'm talking about about your insight for that connection of learning and mental health. How can we get the the most use of learning languages? Actually, I read, and you should, well, I mean, sorry, you definitely better than me about it, because I was reading, maybe I will put this in the links for the medical researchers in the comment section below, about
Right.
the study, about many studies, not even one study, about how learning new language can affect on us and our neurotransmitters. Actually, they say that, you know, it
Yes.
enhances the neurotransmitters, the capacity of mind, the mental capacity. And also, believe it or not, they also mentioned about that was also study in 2020 at the COVID time. They say that people
Yes.
were studying Arabic, or studying languages. I'm not saying exactly Arabic, but studying in language. I don't want to just say only Arabic. You can study, even myself, by the way, I was studying that time. I was keeping
Yes.
studying Portuguese. So it was like, believe it or not, antidepressants. Like people who have a mild, well, I'm not saying extreme depression, because extreme depression really needs someone, a specialist like you, professional, but they say that even that kind of many degrees of depressions, learning new language and being even like, you know, someone who's learning languages can affect and can heal at somehow this. And they consider learning languages is like a natural, or a way to be like anti-depression or antidepressants. What do you think about that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because we're talking about chemicals here. People don't realize that we all are like just we're a body, soul, mind, and we are full of chemicals. And
Mhm.
so instead of getting, so wonky or, just deep into it, but um like going back to me, and you're absolutely right. We have see, my receptors, it pretty much that human connection, getting when I was depressed after I went through that terrible family tragedy. um my receptors were like on a vacation somewhere. I think they were in Hawaii, and they came back when I started learning language with you, doctor. And I started, like my neurotransmitters started, I wanted to do something. I wanted to write. And I showed you, I believe one time I wrote huge folders after we'd study of everything we've ever gone over. And what it did was, mentally, as far as the receptors go, let's just break it down. Basically, it put me on a path of just understanding myself, elevating myself to a higher level, for me as a person and for the people around me, because I was able to communicate better when I learned another language. Remarkably, because English is my first language. But when I started learning Egyptian Arabic, I started, my mind just really started to open up about more things. And a lot of us, like during COVID time, a lot of people were depressed, even children.
Mhm.
And a lot of parents, their children took the entire year off from being social and staying at home and seeing mom and dad every single day. And they're not used to this. And a
Mhm.
lot of children I counsel were very, very much depressed,
Wow.
being at home all the time, no interaction with other children their ages, being online all the
Even
time. And then
us.
when they, yeah, exactly. And then when these
Even us.
kids,
Yeah. Me
for
too.
real, me too. I raised
Yeah.
my hand. And then when we finally got back out of the house, we're like, oh my gosh, it's a
Oh,
whole new world.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I
the
remember.
sky's
Yeah.
open.
Like I remember when
And
I walk in the street, like I just feel like, who are these aliens? Like I mean, just I mean, I'm talking about Egyptians, not talking about like what is, like honestly, we start to make even, whenever I meet someone at the time, I remember like we were so much in need to the human connection.
yes.
I remember when people like going out at that time, and whenever someone like, "Hey, uh, how tamam, are you? I mean, like we want to make friendship everywhere because I remember also
Yeah.
my students from the United States. Many of them start to study and sign up for classes, and they didn't expect that learning language is like that's so much fun and healing for them. Like
It is.
I hear about stories, but for sure I will let you continue. Sorry for interrupting, but I just speaking of
I
the
love
and
that.
it
No,
was
I love
very
that. It
yeah.
was very true. And like, let's even unpack more what you just said about that study that was
Mm,
from 2020.
mhm.
When it comes to stress,
Oh yeah.
can sometimes lead to different types of mental illnesses. It doesn't have to be depression, but we put it in three categories: biological,
Mhm,
psychological,
mhm,
and social. So biological is a
mhm.
disease or lack of nutrients or, not getting enough sleep. Psychological is personal frustrations, inner conflicts, fears, and feelings of basically like feeling insecure about things and, yourself, but mostly things around you. Am I going to lose my job? Am I going to lose my home, my car? And then that other thing is like family pressure. It can be one social stress. I'm not married yet. Oh my gosh, what are people going to think of me? I'm, I'm I'm 58 years old and I'm still single or something like that. Who knows? But different types of pressure that pushes people towards these disorders, these mental disorders. And so, but when you're learning something, you ever see children a lot of times when they're at school for I don't know how many hours a day,
Oh
they
yeah.
still have all of this energy
Yeah.
because they're learning. Their receptors are on fire. Those little
Mhm.
light bulbs in their head are like boom boom boom. They're all. And after
Wow.
I would close my cam with you and get off the phone or whatever studying with you,
Mhm.
doctor, I would be like, I would have so much energy because
Yeah.
you're learning something and your brain is connecting with what you've learned, and you're so excited about it.
I
And the
remember
average
also
person,
I remember you was
yeah,
you always like to study Tuesday morning. Remember, like you
yeah,
always like to set that class time or date at
yes.
very early morning, and she's amazing. And wow.
Yeah, because like I said, kids they get all that energy, but a lot of that energy is just that, it's that those inner chemicals, reacting to the things they've learned and the stimulation, that's the word, the stimulation of being around other people, other children, learning something. Just imagine if a robot started teaching our kids AI. What if the teachers are no more, doctor? What
Mm.
if there were no more teachers in
Feelings.
2025? No
Yeah.
more human being teachers. They lose their, what if they come out with something tomorrow and say all teachers are banned from teaching
Wow.
and let's just go to AI? Do you think our kids would be excited about learning?
No way. They actually talk to this. Well, for me, if like as a student, not as even a teacher, I would never because I have to feel this person that I'm talking to the teacher who teaching me a language, not only teaching me a language, he's teaching me a history. I was teaching, for example, Tasha yesterday. I was teaching her online class. We talked so much about Nuba and Nubian culture, right?
Oh,
By the way,
nice.
yeah, yeah. And she was like, wow. I mean, we stayed even like a long time talking about, and I shared with her the how Nubian people in the weddings and talking about the folklore. It was, Tasha, she was like, she loved that so much, and she was always, and she like, I will let her talk because she's here.
Yeah, I got off the call and I was on fire for the rest of the night. I mean, my brain was just everywhere and I was just looking for people to tell about it. And so I'm texting people like, guess what I learned?
Wow.
It was just, and I couldn't
Amazing.
sleep. I was so, and it's so interesting that you say that because I have struggled with depression off and on throughout my life, and I've constantly been looking for ways to battle fatigue,
Yes.
chronic fatigue, and it was just like Doctor said. After we got off the phone last night, I was probably up until 3 a.m. I was so excited I could not sleep.
Great. See, that's what it's about. That exchange,
And
that human connection.
and Candee also, your family from Upper Egypt, by the way, just for because
Yes.
Tasha, she went to Aswan, Luxor, and by the way, Dr. Candee Williams, she has a wonderful Egyptian family in Egypt,
Yes.
from Upper Egypt, by the way. Yeah.
That's beautiful. And yeah, you know, and I'm so happy you and God bless you for even sharing that with us about your depression. And I totally get it. I've had it after that tragedy, but let me tell you, what really snapped me out of it was learning Egyptian Arabic with Dr. Ahmed. That changed my life. Period, point blank, hands down. That right there woke me up. Like I said earlier, it gave me a reason to get out of bed. It gave me a schedule. It gave me something to look forward to. And I was able to not only that, but I was excited about it. And my family saw me excited about it. And so it became like a ritual. So when you have getting out of depression and having rituals and things that you have to do and scheduling this and scheduling that and keeping those appointments, that helps a lot. So good for you, Tasha. Good for you. I'm so excited and I'm so happy for you as well.
Thank you. Absolutely. And I would like to add also that psychology was my major in college, and I think oftentimes we think as professionals we should be able to get out of these things on our own.
Yeah.
Practice what you preach, and or other people think that it should be so easy for us, and it's not always that way until you actually have to walk those shoes yourself. And I remember going through a similar situation that you described, in which once I was able to get a routine and something to look forward to that made me happy, that really helped a lot. So yeah, I can totally see the classes helping tremendously.
Oh, wonderful. Alhamdulillah. Very
I
good. I'm so excited about that.
I want to ask also, Candee, I get this point of view of how psychology actually affects, or how studying new language in general, since I'm teaching Arabic, and how that the effects, which I was saying, psychological effects, I feel like it's giving us a sort of purpose and sort of distraction from all these negative thoughts. Like, even myself, like well, to be honest, also I went, I mean, I can confess, no problem. Everybody had depression or has depression. Even myself, like I went through, through many downs in my life, and what really helped me myself personally was traveling and getting to know different culture, which is that time Brazilian. That time I was I lived on, or I traveled to Brazil, and studying new language was a sort of a new goal and purpose that, since I was my, this kind of compulsive thoughts about, when you have this bad negative thoughts about the sad memories or bad memories in your life, and you want to replace
Yes.
with new dimension of new whole dimension, like a different and new ways that you want to. Okay, now I want to focus on studying with Ahmed the lesson shopping. I want to study. You know what I mean? We actually doing this kind of distraction, which is like my mind is focusing on my sad and my bad and negative thoughts, and now my mind is like boom, getting me out of that, and on my studying language, getting my mind a little bit far from that, and now I'm focusing on some a new study. Okay, studying a new language, studying Arabic, studying, even traveling, even like now you are living day by day. Now maybe Tasha, she was in Egypt, like, oh my God, that you was, let's say you had some maybe before traveling to Egypt, you had many, like we all have, maybe you had also some sad thoughts, erasing thoughts in your mind from time to time. We have this before you even go to sleep sometimes. And now when you are traveling, when you are in a different or a new city, a new country, you are thinking like debating, okay, what I'm going to do today, I'm going to take my luggage, I'm going to go to this temple to visit this. Exactly, right? What do you think about that? Also, Tasha can tell us about as a traveler, and also Candee as a psychologist. And also Oriana, if she wants to also contribute anytime. Okay, so let's start with Tasha.
Absolutely. Travel is my happy place, especially when it's somewhere warm. So I was already excited. Egypt was my dream trip of a lifetime. And my son came with me because he just wanted to see the look on my face when I experienced all these things that I have been waiting a lifetime to do. And it was like nonstop happiness for almost 3 weeks. And he said, "Mom, I've never seen you like this before. I did not know that you could be this happy. I've never seen you like this before." And it was literally 5 hours of sleep per night on average. And from this plane to this train and this train to
Egyptian
this
never sleep.
bus to, yeah, it was literally nonstop. And every morning I was up like bing, like what are we doing?
Expectation, nice.
Yeah, just anticipation, something to look forward to. It was amazing.
And what about, okay, so also Candee, she is, I will ask you as both, you as a psychologist and you as a traveler, because you was visiting Europe, I guess, some weeks ago. You told me some time ago.
Yeah, I'm pretty much gonna be living there. So I'm pretty much living there back and forth. It's, in Sweden, it's
Sweden,
just meeting new people and the whole it's pretty much a cycle, and learning a new language for us, and it goes back to that AI conversation and how AI could never, if we were at the UN, the United Nations, and we were doing business or so, that would be amazing to have AI, to interpret and to teach, and that would be fantastic because it's like, right there, spur of the moment. But when you're talking about human beings, we're emotional people. We have emotions, and our emotions ignite when we learn a new language. And the thing that really is exciting is that, the back and forth. And that's a huge thing. And so even going to Sweden and meeting the Swedes and just seeing how they interact with one another and how they interact with people who are not from their country, it was amazing. And like the interpretation of the AI, like when I was talking to you very, very early, imagine me learning this from Chat GPT, Egyptian Arabic or whatever. Anna Daifa,
I'm weak. They don't teach only classical,
I know,
some people don't know about that. And only sometimes not all the classical Arabic too. That's the issue, because many people, even translation. I work also, I have my business for translation, and like all the applications until now, they cannot really translate into all the dialects that you can listen, especially for Arabic language. Like they only translate to into Fusha, and
yeah,
Arabic.
Yeah, and I can imagine learning Egyptian Arabic from an AI, and I would be so stiff, so cold, so stale, and Daifa, like sounding just like the robot,
Weak in Arabic, yeah, like
and
he is weak in Arabic, yeah. Daifa is weak.
Instead of putting emotion, like when you taught me how to say that, you showed me how to say it with emotion, and
with
you
the language, exactly.
Yes.
I mean, that's why. I'm sorry for interrupting. Like
No, go ahead.
you have lack of empathy. You don't have this for ChatGPT or any AI or any artificial or software. It's not non-human. They don't give you that empathy. That's creativity. Like you can say many, like I teach, we teach many words, for example, the only, they give you like one or two words, and sometimes they don't even give, it's out of context, and it's not, there's a culture context. The artificial intelligence and all the, all softwares, they don't give you the culture context. They don't tell you like, okay, this is what you should say in this situation, and this is what you should say in the second situation. They only teach you one line, and this one line can be very artificial. Imagine that you just talk to artificial, like a machine. What do you expect?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. You got it. Absolutely. That's exactly what I'm saying. And if you are fortunate, any one of you who's listening, if you're fortunate enough to study and to be taught by Dr. Ahmed, I promise you, within the first few minutes, when I first started, it was 2016.
Yeah,
I was so nervous. I was like, oh
I
my
remember.
gosh, what am I doing? Why am I here? I'm depressed. Let me go be depressed, please.
Wow.
But then I really, and I was like a soldier ready for my classes twice a week. And it really, like, the emotional aspect of things, it really helped. And it gave me a sense of, I'm not just learning something cold and something, he's not just, doing this for money or something like that. You really actually cared how I was feeling at any given time, that the lessons or the sessions, and it was amazing. And you checked my homework. You actually
Yeah.
checked my homework. Imagine a teacher giving homework but not checking it. In psychology, and when
Oh.
I have counseling sessions, I absolutely give homework, because that's the only way it reinforces what you're trying to change or make better or something like that. So that was amazing. So that's how I feel about that.
Like as you say something very nice about, I actually wrote, about that we need that as healing, like that kind of distraction, studying, traveling from time to time, because you say that even sometimes when people get that depression or anxiety, there are
Mhm.
you said three levels or three different, socially and mentally. So I think it just really like you get this human, I would say, emotional connection and human connection with language, because you start to develop some, I would say, opening your mind for many different things. Like for us, even not just psychologically, socially, socially, you start to really change a lot of beliefs. Somehow, let's say, to be honest, I myself, like before traveling to Brazil, for example, like I was assuming, like, that's no much culture maybe or language or things that I will study. But then when I went, I no, I got to connect, or I started to connect with many wonderful teachers and friends, and there are so many, and art and the folklore, and you know what I mean. Like there's language is more than just a language. Like when people studying a language, they are studying language for many different reasons, for sure. Someone studying language for communicating, like you was you wanted to study Arabic language because you want to communicate with Egyptian family here in Egypt. So
Yes.
Tasha also studying because also she loves to travel, and she is also into art, and Jessica, many people, we have a lot of students that have different reasons, but at the same time you go for a reason, but you find many different outcomes. You know what I mean? You start to connect
Yeah.
about the culture. You start to connect to. You start to open new whole. Like I have students actually studied Arabic, and they got new jobs. Started to really have new opportunities about business. Some of them start to make their own business in Middle East. Some of them, like journalists. I taught even the. I remember the story, like it's very very funny, the Singapore ambassador in Egypt. I was teaching in a, like in a class in academy, and and his wife, you know, she was my student. I didn't know that she is my student. And then she called me like after I moved from, or I left this place, was in my academy, was, you know, a new, or you know, my beginning. It was just academy I was teaching. And I found that she told me, you know, it helped me so much, because she was a new in Egypt. Like, she was his wife, and I guess she moved to Egypt recently because his diplomatic job or work. So she didn't really like Egypt that much. You know,
Oh.
honestly, she told me that. But you know, when I started to learn Egyptian and Arabic language, and you know, for sure, she began with Fusha, with classical Arabic. I was also her teacher, and when she switched it, or you know, changed it to Egyptian, I was also the teacher for her and for housekeeper, and you know, and at that time she told me I developed a very unique and new connection with the culture, not only with Egyptian culture, with the Arabic culture. She started to buy books. She started to understand. She even started to attend conferences, and you know, and even by her now, she is on her own. She for sure she's fluent now. I don't know how many years now she's still here. If she's still here, she moved back. But you know, it's just, you know, you start to develop a very unique connection, not just only with the language. The language is a gate, you know. And I remember when I was talking to you about the philosophy, and before even we started this meeting, we were talking about
Yes.
philosophy, and how many wonderful knowledge that many people don't know about it, because it's just kind of hidden behind a language. And when you just break this wall, or you know, like this block, and you can get into a new dimension, philosophy, psychology. What is the book of Al-Ghazali about alchemy of happiness? And he was talking about how to become happier, how to become even happier in life. And you know, like, you discover a lot of wonderful knowledge that's far from your traditional, or from our traditional knowledge that we get it every day. So I want to know more about American psychology. So how can I do this? I have to understand English, American English, or I study, you know. So that's how I will begin. So this is what I say: is language is not only a language. Is language is behind language. When in our university, in my college, for example, they teach us history, civilization, psychology, but you know, more linguistic psychology, and also sometimes also like not clinical, but you know, just like, you know, psychology for education. They teach us how also about English. They teach us poetry, and the poetry itself, the language, Arabic language is the language of mysticism, of theology,
Mm,
of philosophy,
yes.
of you know, the first one of the first languages, or one of the leading languages in Middle East. I don't know, you know, there is a wonderful book of Edward Said. He's American, Egyptian American philosopher, or you know, scholar. He's very famous. He has many books, Orientalism, and you know, he wrote many books about Arabic language. And he was talking about that, you know, Arabic language, like Khalil Gibran, Rumi. Many people know about, you know, about his about, you know, the poetry or the poem of Rumi. But you know, when you start to get closer to Rumi and his philosophy, and how he, you know, navigate life, and all this sadness in life, and how
Mm,
overcome, you know, you will just see not just only lines. You will feel, you will live his life, you will understand him. You know what I mean? So also, to understand the poetry, to understand the art, to see the folklore in Egypt, maybe you will just listen to the music. But when you understand the Arabic song, remember we were studying songs.
yes.
Ahmed, yeah,
Yeah.
giving me poetry. He's giving me. Remember, I was translating.
Yes.
You remember? I still have your poem. She wrote a poem in English. and we did it together in Arabic, something like that.
Oh,
No, it
do you know
was,
what it was? It was
yeah.
the Lord's Prayer from the Bible. The Lord is my shepherd.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
I read that in front of the church, and oh my gosh, it was, I mean, two people like really like their hearts were so melted
Wow,
after
really?
that. They really gave their heart to God, and I'm telling you, that was powerful.
Wow, I remember it was beautiful lines. I remember, and I was also teaching, by the way, one of my students, she became a famous, by the way, actress in Egypt, Luna, even on YouTube, Luna Paris or Luna Paris. She's a French American, Egyptian now, because she lives between all that. And
Okay.
yeah, and she had a song, and she made a very nice, like it was a musical. I mean, it was a music video, very famous at the time. It was at that time trending in 2010, very long time ago. And studying language made her also get amazing opportunities. Not just only it was a song. She was like, okay, I wanna get this song just for fun. And believe it or not, the song became trending, and the song made her like get meet new people. I wish she could be
Wow.
join us today, but sure, like. And then she even played a very famous TV series in Egypt in Ramadan. I was like, wow, I didn't even expect. I was in Brazil watching TV, Egyptian TV, and I saw this is Luna. I mean, wow. I mean, I was so happy. I told her, I'm so proud of you. I texted her, hey Luna, I'm مبسوط سعيد جدا. I'm just very proud of you, Vicky. And wow, because I feel extremely happy when I see this wonderful progress. Like same like when you speak
Wow.
about your you talk you was reciting this to your to the church. It's beautiful. It is beautiful.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was very beautiful. It was very effective because not only did you give me the language, the translation, but you also went, oh, you gave me like you totally read it out. You did a recording for me and you
Oh
read it
yeah,
all out.
I do that.
And I played it over and over. And you don't get that with AI. And so it
Oh
was just
yeah.
amazing. That was one of the concepts that I loved because once again, it's about emotions, like you said, mabsuta. You didn't say mabsuta, I am a robot. You showed the emotion
Can you imagine? Yeah, I can imagine how we
yeah,
say mapsuta like as a robot. Yeah. We are suffering.
exactly.
We are suffering from that. Even as a translator. When one of my clients, not just even I translate books, songs, every I think you can imagine with my team to English. I have also wonderful linguists into Spanish, into Spanish and German. So, we get people like, hey, we translated this part, but it was by chat or by, even advanced ChatGPT or whatever, like translation, soft or apps. And then we find a lot of language mistakes, linguistics mistakes you cannot imagine. Like, it's complete.
Wow.
You find it's a whole different context. It's like they're talking about someone who is not, it doesn't belong this, and that's why human like human resource, or I mean human translation, human approach is very important. Like you don't get this dimension, like maybe ChatGPT for sure can be beneficial, can be like enhancing maybe education for somehow. Like, okay, you want maybe just to get some vocab that's difficult at the time. It's like, oh, hey, ChatGPT, can you tell me how? That's okay. Can save life. Can save situation. Save you from, but you cannot providing personalized learning. Yeah, like you cannot tell me, okay,
Right.
I need to learn what I need, what I want to need, I want to study because I want to travel. So I give you what is specially for traveling. I give you what you really need. That's not ChatGPT job for sure. He will never do that. He cannot do that because he's customized it to fit all people, and it's not, and also he's not emotional. He's not, sorry, he's not, he doesn't have this empathy. He doesn't have feelings. He's a machine. Or it is a machine,
Exactly.
because he's not even his, it is a machine, you know, like, so I actually, I mean, I don't want to take so long, because I really appreciate your time and your coming here, and honestly, but I want to maybe ask some very last thing, you know, if that's okay with you, sure, because I don't
Sure.
want, yeah,
No problem. Absolutely. This is great. It's been really great. It's been a pleasure because
yeah,
um as Tasha herself has already shared with us, it's amazing that
wow,
it's, you know,
yeah,
not only for traveling, but also just for the mental health. And you have two people here telling you it's a real phenomenon to have, you know, an amazing outcome from like mental health, and learning a new language, a foreign language. It's amazing, you know? So
sure.
yes, go for it.
I wonder, have you encountered like kind of difficulty, challenge, I would say, any challenge for learning Arabic? Or let's say, to be honest, this is what I always, I don't like to say this, you know, because I don't want to look like a psychologist. But I want to say this, you know, have you, first, my students always challenge this language and anxiety, like, oh my god, I don't want to, I cannot speak now, I'm afraid to talk, please, like,
Yes.
they have this fear of negatively evaluated. And I want you as professional psychologist, and also maybe also I will hear that from Tasha, her own experience, but I want you to, what you can say to them. What is your way, like, you think it's the best way to overcome this challenge of the fearing, talking a new language, especially for sure Arabic is, well, I mean, all of us know it's not so easy, but what
Right.
do you comment, or what do you see?
Well, first of all, I would say that fear is not a good reason um, not to try. I mean, you should definitely try.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first thing. Anxiety as a whole, I would definitely say first keep a realistic perspective of yourself, what you will get out of it,
Mm-hmm.
what you will put into it. Be realistic about everything. That will help your anxiety. The second thing would be imagine a great turnout. You know, the things we fear, a lot of times they never happen. You know, those are things that are just in our head. And so you can learn a new language. People always say, I always hear this, Dr. Ahmed. I hear people say, oh, you know, when you're a child, you should be a child learning a new language. No, give yourself the benefit of the doubt of learning something new and imagine a good turnout that you could actually do it. Yes, you can. The other thing is, it's our duty
Mm-hmm.
to pretty much help one another. That's what makes us human. And so I think so much so that, you know, like having that human, once again, that human connection,
Yeah.
and not only imagining the better turnout, it's our duty to, you know, pretty much help one another. And so that's what you're doing when you have one-on-one learning as far as foreign languages go. And the other thing is, when we're able to control any situation, whether it's learning or whether it's things in our own life, those things create anxiety as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
But it can be also a blessing. That anxiety to speak, it can actually be a blessing in disguise because it can give, once you actually see me as a fifth degree black belt, when I teach a 3-year-old how to kick, not for self-defense, Dr. Ahmed, but to teach them how to make their little legs stronger. When I
Wow.
teach a 3-year-old how to kick, that first kick, it, it it means something to that child because they did it. And for us, once we start and you speak up and you, whether you mess up or not, you actually tried. And so that's the blessing. And that's the blessing to keep going on and on. And like when I would mess up, I would butcher words. I would mess up words when you would tell me like mapsuta. I would probably say mapsita. Who? And I would say it in a Spanish way. I'm like mapsuta, mapsuta.
Please.
You know, but you would give the emotion behind the word and so on
Yeah.
and so forth. And so that really helped. And so basically keep a realistic perspective.
Okay.
Know that you're able to, and you have the mental capacity to actually do a great job.
Yeah.
Get rid of fear. It's a terrible reason not to try. And definitely that, your anxiety about it, that shows you care. That really shows you care. And
Yeah.
so that enforces positive psychology. That is amazing because when you become mentally fertile, when
Mhm.
you're learning something new and you're learning something from a positive perspective,
Mhm.
I mean, it's amazing. So it's an emotional and motivational thing.
Wow. This is amazing. Like I love it. I'm actually taking notes, by the way. Like I was learning. You know what? You know what is actually you remind me of there was a professor at our college. He was teaching us علم النفس اللغوي, linguistic psychology or psycholinguistics. So he was teaching us that language has like for sure. I mean, you can tell me like has a short term memory. And when you do so much, when you not do so much, I mean, when you do your best, let's say you do the best in studying, and you're actually taking this short term memory or short memory of you, and you almost expand it. So your mind, it's getting better. You're actually improving a lot of your, you know what I mean? Like your memory start to even be enhanced. And so
Yes.
that's what they discover in they give us some research about Alzheimer, or we say Alzheimer. I don't know in English is Alzheimer. It's like they found that people who are studying or bilingual, like you or like Tasha, like me, I would say I'm not like very much, but at least Portuguese and English, they are very far from getting affected. The age from memory, like the mental health, they are a bit anti-aging. Like their mind, the memory, it's like the same like someone who is 25 years old, 20 years old. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're almost the same like before, even better. And when people say
Yes.
that, and they discover something very interesting, and I saw that research, like, the more you learn for language, the more you remember even um, like other things. Like, for example, let's say you study language like Arabic, okay, and at the same time you study science, okay. So it will enhance the way that you're studying the language. When you study it, you enhance the way that you study also, you remember all the other subjects, all the other things. So for example, if you work in a very like in a like work that needs a lot of mental effort, okay,
Yes.
that neurotransmitters, that's where, I mean, that's the way the word, the neurotransmitters will be very, very capable, or they will have a very good capacity, and they will work effectively because you are studying a new language. So studying a new language, it also enhancing all that other subjects. Like you will find that you can remember science, you can remember even things that at your home, maybe if some people, like,
Yes.
they say that also something very, very nice in psychology. It's just something I was reading in many research, like if someone has a loss of memory, they they ask him or they tell him to learn a new language. And
Yep.
believe or not, researchers say that from 60 to 70, for even more than 70, 60 to 70, 75%, those people who gives them this way or this remedy, this way that to fight or to heal, treat this loss of memory, they actually could restore most of the memory. And they say that they, even after some time, they get like 80 to 90% of the memory. And for sure, I won't be very accurate when it comes to research. So that's why I will try to include all the links and resources for what I read in English. So this is what I found this extremely, since we talk about psychology and and learning Arabic or learning new language. So what do you think?
I think this is great. I really do, because not only because you're my teacher, but I'm a huge advocate. Like I said, I mean, we're in a new world. Back then, remember 2016, we weren't talking
Hmm.
about AI. There was no like Chat
There was no
GPT on the
I,
market.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
And
us,
so
only I.
it was just us. Only you, only I.
No AI, only I. Funny.
Exactly. And so, being that, that was the case, it's important that I'm happy during this session, we acknowledged that there is such a thing as AI learning
Mm.
language. And I'm glad that we acknowledged that, because to look over that when you're talking about psychology, and that would be like, we would be terribly remiss to not bring that up. And so I'm happy we brought that up. I'm happy we're able to meet Tasha. Hello.
Thank you so
And
much. Thank you so much.
I'm so happy that you're continually helping other people overcome different challenges. And I am so proud of you, and I'm so proud to be your student. And I am
Oh,
just very, very grateful. This session helped me as well. So I've totally learned a lot, listening to you, and just how you're moving along in this new age of AI and learning and so on and so forth. So it just makes me happy that you're hanging in there. And AI has nothing on Dr. Ahmed.
thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate everything, really. I don't have any, so much to say. I'm a language teacher, but I don't have any any words to say to really describe how my heartwarming gratitude for you to come and to have these wonderful contributions as a psychologist, as a friend, as a student, as a as Candee, as my friend, and also Tasha. Thank you so much, Tasha, for coming, and appreciate that. And anyone also listening to us or watching that in or listening to this podcast that we are making on Spotify, and you can check our website at www.ilarabicacademy.com, and also my Facebook page, Ahmed Swifi Official, and also my Instagram. Thank you so much, Tasha. Is there
Thank
anything you
you.
want to say, please?
Just one more thing I'll add, and just piggyback onto what Dr. Candee stated about learning new languages. I have spent a lot of time in Puerto Rico, and I found that a lot of people who don't speak English are hesitant because they think, or any language, they're hesitant because they think that other people will make fun of them. And I would just say that in addition to that, when you start a new language, to try to have a supportive community. So I think that it's nice that Dr. Ahmed, you put us in touch with other learners, and also to just try to intentionally, chemically change the way you think about it. Because a lot of people don't know how to do that. So when these negative thoughts come in, like, oh, I know how to say it, but I don't want to say it because they'll make fun of me, you have to immediately, intentionally replace that negative thought with a positive thought. And that's how you change the way that you think. So I would just encourage new learners to do that as well.
This is amazing, right, Candee? Like, this kind of
Absolutely.
feelings and switching, like, just you feel this, so switch directly to make it like, there's just last thing. I don't want to like talk so long because Egyptians are talkers. Last time I was hosting, remember Tasha was with us. I was hosting another Egyptian speaker. Like we're talking like for 2 hours. So I wanted to, but anyway. So just funny. Anyway, So what I was saying is we have the 5 second. There was a very nice book about 5 second rule of a woman, very nice. She wrote this book 7 years ago, and I always make this trick with my students, like, you know what? Always say what you want to say, even with mistakes, and you don't be afraid of people making fun of you, because nobody will do that. That's what is actually in our mind. It's like perceptions that we always have, that if we will get negatively evaluated if I say this word, if I do this word. I have also I have one of my students, she is also psychologist, but like criminal psychologist from Canada. And she, like, most of time she spent like Fusha, classical Arabic. Okay, when she switched to Egyptian Arabic, or she was mixing Egyptian and classical and Fusha, like Egyptian Arabic, like, I told her it's okay, it's fine. Also, because many people also like feel like, oh well, sometimes I speak this and then I put this Fusha and then put this Egyptian. Even Candee, right? Candee also, before we studying, you was having
Yes.
Fusha. So you was putting some Fusha with Egyptian, which is fine. Because
Yes.
I was saying to Tasha yesterday, what I told you, it will be that you are classy. You know, when people see that or listen that you speak Fusha, or you put some classical or modern standard Arabic in your speech or in conversation, people are like, wow, she is educated. She knows. You know, you could even know more than Egyptians themselves. Some of people here don't know Fusha. Well, unfortunately, the education sometimes don't give people like you know, priority, or you know, that to speak the classical Arabic, since it's like people nowadays just speak daily life for Egyptian or colloquial. So if you speak that, if you do that, don't be afraid and just say it. You know, even with mistakes, nobody will judge on you. Besides, social psychology say that if you speak to someone native in his own native language, even with doing mistakes, you know, you are gaining trust. You have this you are building connection with his feelings, his emotions, his conscious, his mind, his, you know, like, you are actually getting closer to him. He will trust in you, especially for Middle Eastern, for Arabs. If you speak, and I always, you know, I noticed that with my students, once you know, they started to speak Arabic and communicate with colleagues and business contacts, and you know, they get a lot even more opportunities, because they started to notice a difference. People start to really treat them like really nicely and more friendly, because you are coming to me, you are getting closer to me, so I will get closer to you, because you are speaking my language. So I will also I will, you know, do that for you. I will try to help you. So, you know, like, that's very, very important, because I'm sorry if I just add this last part, but I found this very useful to mention. So thank you so much, Candee, again. شكرا جدا.
شكرا جدا
I
جدا.
wish you يوم سعيد, happy and wonderful day, يوم جميل, يوم سعيد, and also to Tasha. And I am very happy that also you studied psychology as well. You studied art, I studied psychology. This is wonderful as well. So I had like
Yes.
two professional specialists in psychology. Besides, I'm not only social psychology. I just, you know, I did just course and psycholinguistics we studied anyway, so I'm not so professional in psychology, just language. Okay.
No. Could have fooled me.
شكرا جدا Candee. شكرا جدا.
شكرا جدا جدا.
يوم سعيد. Take care of yourself, and شكرا everybody watching us. Bye bye.
خلي بالك من نفسك.
You too. السلام عليكم. Bye bye.